Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 19 of the Houston Astros franchise here on MLB The Show 20. We have another live comm, which means we have another monthly recap as we have finished up the month of May and then went into the the draft and saw some players get selected. But today we're going to rewind the clock a little bit and talk about the month of May. So I'm going to start off by showing you guys our calendar from May. We actually performed better in May. We went 16-13, so climbing back to 500 slowly but surely, which is better than what we did in April when we went 11-19. And I'll show you guys the minor leagues real quick. Our AAA Round Rock Express, a lot of L's on the right side, but they went 12-18 on the month, which is actually an improvement from April, where they went 6-14. And then there's the AA Corpus Christi Hooks. Yeah, that's pretty bad. They went 6-24 this month. That's a complete opposite of their month of April, where they went 14-5. So I don't know what happened with the Hooks this past month, but they just completely flipped the switch and started to do really bad. So that's how our teams are doing. Let's take a look at the major leagues. Let's take a look at where the Astros rank as well as in the standings. Starting with our division, we sit at 30-32. Still 7.5 games back from the Angels, 4 games back from the Athletics. So let's go back to the AL East, where it looks like the Red Sox lead the way in the AL East. The Yankees right behind them. It's really just a 2-division race as everybody else is kind of struggling. AL Central, it is the White Sox division right now, 38-24. The Indians kind of surprisingly struggling, 25-38. Twins are behind them at 35-28. So looks like the White Sox and Twins are in that division. Take a look at the AL West, we already did. The wild card, it's the Yankees and Twins right now. We sit 4.5 games back, so we're still in the wild card hunt. Take over to the NL side of things. The Mets lead the NL East. We just beat the Mets in a 2-game series. They sit at 35-26. Braves right behind them at 33-30, and then the defending champions, Nationals, sit at 31-30. NL Central, it is the Cardinals and the Brewers who sit even at 37-25 apiece. Reds 1 game behind them, though, with 36-26. And the Cubs, who had a good month of May, sit at 32-31, 5.5 back. In the West, it is all about the Dodgers, 44-17. Diamondbacks are already 9.5 behind them. Now, wild card is a 3-team race, but one of them will be a division leader. So you got Cardinals, Brewers, and Reds. So all the NL Central sitting tight, but the Diamondbacks right behind them at 1 game. Now we'll go into the meat of this section where we look at our player stats, see how our players are doing this month, as well as both pitching and hitting. We're going to divide the hitting up by OPS. And it looks like our best player hitting is George Springer. His average has dropped a lot. He was hitting the 300s last month, but his homers have just completely increased. He's on the top of the team, I think, with 15 home runs, 44 RBIs, 6 steals. George Springer has been our best bat this year, and I think he is a free agent. So this is a contract year for George Springer, so he's going to be a hefty price to pay to bring back, but that's something we'd like to do this offseason. Alex Bregman up next, only hitting 258, but he does have 13 homers and 30 RBIs. He is a solo home run machine, as we see in our episodes. Then we have Yordan Alvarez, probably my favorite hitter to hit with, hitting 261, 16 bombs, 42 RBIs. Is that more than? Yeah, he's actually. So Yordan Alvarez is the home run leader with 16. Very good DH to have, very young player. It's just a future cornerstone of this team, only 22 years old. Look at those hitting stats. This man is phenomenal. Then we have Carlos Correa, who's hitting 280 on the team with 8 homers and 29 RBIs. Played very solid this season as well, and I think he's also so we got one more year of arbitration with Correa, which is good, but we got to plan for that in a couple of years. Then we have probably the surprise bat of the season, Martin Maldonado. His average has cooled off a bit to 255, but 7 homers, 20 RBIs. He's been really clutch this year, and that's something we really didn't expect when he came back on a 1-year deal, but he's making a case for another chance next year on this team. Jose Altuve next, hitting a low 250, very low for Altuve. Does have 7 homers, 25 dingers, only 1 stolen base. So we like to see more out of Altuve. Just a phenomenal contact hitter, but he's just not putting the ball where it needs to be. Michael Brantley up next. He's gotten his average up a little bit as well, hitting 259 on the season, 3 homers, 15 RBIs. he's starting to get back into his role in that leadoff spot, getting on base when we need him to. You know, just being that guy. 329 OPS, I'd like to see that be a little higher, but I think Michael Brantley's doing a good job turning it around. We start to get into the second half of our hitters. Kyle Tucker hitting 229. He was hitting in the ones last month, so it's good that he's gotten his average up in his 70 at-bats. Has 1 homer, 9 RBIs, 3 steals. I mean, we want him to be the future left fielder of this team. I mean, he has a potential 71. His bat does need to come along a little bit, but with Brantley being a free agent this offseason, you know, we don't know if we're going to bring him back. It just depends on if Kyle Tucker's ready to take over that role as a left fielder. I would like him to be. That would save us some cash, but I don't want to rush him if need be. And we got Yuli Gurriel hitting 227, 5 homers, 16 RBIs. He's also come up clutch in a couple of instances, but, you know, if it's not those clutch hits, he's really not getting that many hits. So, Yuli getting older. He is already, I think, 35 in his limited time. He is decreasing across the board, so Yuli, I would like to see him increase, still have him for arbitration as well. But, you know, if he's going to be regressing really quick, he could be somebody we move. I don't want to go that route yet, though. I don't want to go too deep into that because I like Yuli, and I just hope he can get his average up. Josh Reddick up next, hitting 210, 5 homers, 15 RBIs. If there is a dude who's probably going to leave this team, it probably will be Reddick, unfortunately. You know, 33 years old, 74 C potential, decreasing, even though his power is going up a little bit. But he is a free agent this year. He made 13 mil this year. I don't think he'll want 13 mil next year. Yeah, it says his expectation is 3 mil. So if he comes back on 3 mil, I would maybe do a 1-year deal for him because our right fielders, you know, we saw just draft a right fielder in the 3rd round. Obviously, he's not going to be ready for a while. So Josh Reddick could be back on this team, but he needs to play better if he wants to guarantee a spot. Then we get into the reserves, you know, which, you know, if we go to team stats and you look at our team average, I mean, these guys are really struggling across the board. Dustin Garneau, our backup catcher, hitting 174. Aledmus Diaz hitting 156. Abraham Toro, who we brought up recently to be that corner infielder on the bench, is hitting 214, which is like our highest out of our bench players, but still not very good. I think he's satisfied. So I thought, you know, hopefully, good thing his thing isn't going down, but he is going up a little bit. He is 23 years old. I think he can grow a little bit. I don't know if he will be the first base or third baseman of the future, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Drew Stubbs is injured. He has hit abysmal in his 36 at-bats. So that does it for the position players side of things. We're going to go over to the pitchers, and I'll do this one by ERA. So we'll start with Joe Smith. A couple of relievers haven't really seen that much action. You know, Joe Smith's been on the roster most of the year, or actually the whole year. He's only pitched 5 1/3 innings. And I don't know why he's not getting that many innings in the Sims. I like that he is a setup man, so maybe we're just not winning games close. But I like to see Joe Smith get some more work. And we just brought up Austin Pruitt. Looks like he's pitched 1 inning and got 1 strikeout, so good for him. Then we have Justin Verlander, the reigning Cy Young winner and our #1 ace. He's got his ERA all the way down to 2.05. Is getting run support now with a 6-4 record. I mean, really not much else to say about Justin Verlander. I mean, his decreasing stats across the board at 49 home run per 9 is kind of worrisome, but I mean, he's playing phenomenal, lights out. I just hope that he doesn't retire after this year. He is on contract for next year, so I don't know why he would, but you never know. And then probably the surprise of the season, Jose Urquidy, 2.21 ERA through 69 1/3 innings pitched, a 5-1 record. His WHIP is 1.25, but I mean, look at him. I mean, 24 years old. He does have a potential, but he is just playing lights out. I don't know why he's not getting more votes in the All-Star voting, which we might take a look at in a little bit. But I mean, I've enjoyed Jose Urquidy. I'm glad he's playing well, and he has solidified his spot as a 4th or 5th man in the rotation behind Verlander, Greinke, and McCullers. So watch out for him in the future. Next up, Roberto Osuna, 287, our closer. He had a little rocky start, or not rocky start, rocky middle of May, but it seems like he's kind of got that under control. He does have 13 saves in 15 2/3 inning, so good to see that. And then we have Rogelio Armenteros, who is currently our long reliever, but is a starting pitcher, can crack that rotation, especially if he's going to keep pitching 2.92 ERA and 24 2/3 innings pitched. Strikeouts, almost 1 strikeout per inning, so that's good. He's a beat potential 71 overall, young guy, so if we can't contend for a playoff spot, which we hope we do, obviously, but Rogelio Armenteros has been another surprise guy to take a look at in the future. Could battle for that 5th rotation spot as the season comes along and into next season. Next up, Lance McCullers, a 3.42 ERA and 73 2/3 innings pitched, 74 strikeouts. We've seen in the Sims he's had some lights out games recently. His whip is a little high at 1.34. I think that's one of the highest among the starting pitchers. But Lance McCullers has played really well. He's been a solid number 3 guy for us. I don't think he's a free agent. Okay, he's still got arbitration for this year. So another guy we got to take a look at in a couple years. So we have a couple guys coming up who we do need to plan for. Then we have Zach Greinke with a 3.53 ERA, our number 2, who could be some people's number 1. He's pitched good, 3.53. It's a little high for him, as I think it's his highest ERA since 2016 when he was on the Diamondbacks with a 4.37. But he is getting older. He's dropping a little bit, but he's still an 88 overall A potential. He's also not a free agent this year, so I don't think he would retire, but obviously something to keep an eye on again. Ryan Presley up next, 3.60 ERA and 15 innings pitched. He's played solid. I like to see him play a little better, though, in his role as a setup man. Then we have Brad Peacock, who's kind of been our go-to middle reliever recently with a 4.32 ERA. He's played solid. I mean, I've enjoyed pitching with Peacock. He's given up a couple home runs here and there with his 60 home run per 9, but he's been serviceable as a middle reliever. Our bullpen is probably our number 1 need we want to address as the season goes along, as the deadline approaches. I like to get our bullpen to increase a little bit. Next up, we have our last starting pitcher. He is the 5 spot, Homer Bailey, a 6 ERA, not good. We acquired him right before the season started with a trade from the Twins. We shipped him over a minor league reliever, so a reliever that we gave up for Homer Bailey. Obviously, like to see him better. 33 overall SEEP, 74. Used up all of his minor league things, so it's not like I can send him down. Could be DFA. I don't think we're at that point yet, though. But, I like to see Homer Bailey turn around. If he doesn't, I might want to give Rogelio Armenteros that spot in the 5 hole. So, Homer Bailey, probably the starting pitcher who has definitely struggled. Next up, Framber Valdez, another long reliever, probably the designated long reliever if we didn't have a starting pitcher over there, but he struggled this year, 6.14 ERA and 29 and a third innings. Still relatively young at 26 years old. I mean, some stats are going up, some aren't. His walks is going down. I mean, that walk is really low, so that's something to keep an eye out for. How many walks does he have this year? Already has 24 walks in 29 innings, so about a walk an inning. That's not very good at all. So Framber Valdez needs some work. And then Chris Devinsky, who's really taken a nosedive this month with a 7.30 ERA. 29 years old. I thought he'd still have some left in the tank, but he's really struggling this year for some reason. I don't know why. It's a good thing his morale's not being affected, but Chris Devinsky is the relief pitcher right now who is struggling. We're starting to clean up this bullpen, but obviously we're still going to have a couple arms in there who are struggling this season. So that does it for the statistics. Next thing, let's move on to the team statistics a little bit. Starting with batting average, we currently sit at 27th, so one of the worst hitting teams in the league, surprisingly, with a 241 average, only ahead of the Blue Jays, Pirates, and Mariners. So obviously, I'd like to see that increase. We have a lot of hitters who should be getting more hits than they have, but I think that average will start to go up soon. Our runs, where do we sit in runs? We probably sit a little higher on this one, 18th with 261. That's thanks to all the home runs we hit, which we'll take a look at as well. Home runs, we currently sit at tied for 9th with 84. So we are a long ball team, which is where we get most of our runs. So I mean, as long as we're winning games, that's fine. But we do sit at 30 and 32. So I'd like to see some more hits across the board and not just rely on the long ball. We're a terrible stolen base team, 19 last in the league. Not really much else to say on that one. What's another one? Strikeouts. We don't strike out a lot, which is good. Slugging on base. We're going to go to, where's ERA? I'm going to take a look at the ERA. Here it is. So ERA, we sit in the middle of the pack, 16 with a 4.21 ERA. It looks like the ERA is pretty little increase across the league. We have a couple starting pitchers who are helping. So that has improved this month. We were towards the bottom third in the league in this, so it's good to see that jumping up a little bit. We just need the bats to pick it up a little bit now. And then let's go with hits allowed. Actually, it's 22nd in hits allowed, so we do give up a lot of hits, but we clutch up when we need be. But this is a stat right here that is plaguing us, and that is home runs allowed. We are the worst team in the league with giving up homers, and we've seen that in our episodes. We are very frankly giving up the long ball, and that's something I'd like to see improve as well. And I think that's all of them. Win percentage, that will be the last stat we'll take a look at. We are 18th in the league. So last time I did check, we were in the 20s, so that's good that we're jumping up a little bit. So sitting at 30-32, we're about 500, and we sit about 500 in the league. So hopefully that will increase as the season goes along as well. And one of the last things we'll take a look at is the league leaders. Take a look at a couple of these. Mike Trout leads the league in batting average. What else is new in the American League? Home runs, Mike Trout and Framil Reyes with 19 apiece. RBIs, Mike Trout. Runs is Hunter Dozier still. He is still clobbering the baseball, hitting 356 on the season. Rangers got a pair of base stealers with Danny Santana and Elvis Andrus at the top with 15 and 13 apiece. And then we'll go to the pitching side of things. Lucas Giolito and Garrett Cole both have 9 wins on the season. So that's good for them. Lucas Giolito is still undefeated at 9-0. Saves-wise, we have Oliver Drake leading the way for the Rays. Interesting, because he is actually on the trade block for the Rays. So maybe a potential trade target. We'll have to wait and see. ERA, Justin Verlander is first in the American League, and Jose Urquidy is third. So that's good that our two dominant pitchers with Jacob Junis in the middle from the Royals. I think that's really... strikeouts. I want to take a look at strikeouts. Garrett Cole leads the way with 118 strikeouts. Verlander sits 5th with 100. And I think that's all I want to see from stats-wise. So we'll take a look at the National League. Paul Goldschmidt leads the way over there, hitting 365. So he is the MLB highest batting average. Home runs in the National League is Josh Bell with 20. So one of the lone bright spots for the Pirates so far. RBIs, Freddie Freeman leads the way with 48 RBIs already. Jeez. I mean, that's high. Obviously, it's not Mike Trout high, but good for him. Take a look at stolen bases. Oh, where is it? Oh, here's Billy Hamilton, of course, leads the way in the National League with 20. I mean, he's got 99 speed, so what do you expect? Or base stealing, what do you expect? Take a look at that pitching. Clayton Kershaw, Anthony Desclafani, and David Price all got 8 wins. Losses, Miles Nicholas is undefeated in the National League. Saves-wise for the Cardinals, Giovanni Gallegos, 21 saves on the season. NL leader in ERA is Mike Foltynewicz at 247. And last one, strikeouts, Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg both top it for the Nationals, 115 and 111 apiece. So that's all the stats. We're going to take a look at injury list. There is a couple of injuries I want to highlight in this past month. Obviously, we don't really have any big injuries. Garrett Stubbs is coming back despite his 111 average. I think he will be the backup catcher because Dustin Garneau really hasn't performed better. And I like to see Garrett Stubbs get some more action off the bench. But a couple of injuries to highlight. Let's go to the Mets first. Mets have Noah Syndergaard out for another month to 2 months with a fractured forearm. So that's a blow for them. The Rockies have a couple of injuries as well. Garrett Hampson and Nolan Arenado will be out for 2 to 3 months with a broken shin. So not what you like to see for the Rockies, especially playing in a division with the Dodgers. The Orioles have Jose Iglesias out for another month and 2 months. That's who we play next. And obviously, while he's not the best player in the world, he is a 74 overall, and the Orioles don't have that many solid players to begin with, so that's kind of a blow for them. The Yankees have 2, Brett Gardner and Gleyber Torres. Torres will be back in a week to 2 weeks. White Sox have 1 as well. Nomar Mazara will be out for another month to 2 months with a fractured foot. So the star player for the White Sox out. Hopefully he doesn't hamper their AL Central lead. Speaking of the AL Central, Delano DeShields is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Obviously, he didn't hit very good this season, but still kind of a blow for them. And then the Royals have Salvador Perez out. Here he is, 1 to 2 months with a torn finger ligament. And the last one I want to highlight is our division leaders, Jason Castro out for the Angels, as well as Tommy Lacella's season is over. He was having a very solid season, so that's tough to see for them. But that's all we're going to take a look at in this monthly recap. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tried to keep this one a little shorter, because I tend to ramble and go on with these. But thank you guys so much for watching. Our next episode, we will actually, before we jump into the majors, I think we're going to have a minor league update, see what's going wrong with both of our minor league teams, and then we'll get on to the month of June. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Mr. Rob, and I'm saying class is dismissed.